What if I told you that every piece of advice you were ever given about building a career, study hard, get the degree, become reliably good at your job, show up consistently, master your process, was actually training you to be the most replaceable person in the room? Not because you failed, not because you didn't work hard, because you succeeded, because you did exactly what was asked. You became exactly what the system needed: predictable, consistent, skilled at executing a well-defined process. And that reliability is now the single greatest liability you carry into the next decade. The accountant, the profession that defines corporate reliability. The paralegal, the mid-level analyst, the marketing coordinator, those who follow the playbook. The loan officer, the pillar of structured judgment. The compliance manager. These aren't people who cut corners. These are the people who did everything right. And they are disappearing from the economy at a pace that no one is being honest about. Today we strip away the noise and we get to the bottom line. Let's start with the data, because the data is where most people stop looking. Oxford Economics has identified over 300 million white-collar jobs globally that are directly exposed to AI automation. Not factory workers, not delivery drivers, knowledge workers, people with degrees, people with careers, people who spent years becoming expert at cognitive tasks that a language model can now perform in seconds. And here's what the headlines aren't showing you. Look at the employment data across every major economy: the US, the UK, Germany, Australia, and you see the same pattern emerging. A barbell. Low-skilled jobs, stable. High-skilled jobs, growing. Everything in the middle, hollowing out. Now, you might be thinking, every recession kills jobs, and they come back. And you would be right, historically. But this is not a recession. Recessions are cyclical. When demand returns, the jobs return. What we are witnessing right now is structural displacement. The jobs aren't coming back because the function those jobs performed has been permanently transferred to software. McKinsey estimates that up to 12 million US workers may need to change occupations entirely by 2030, and the roles most affected share one characteristic: they are built on cognitive routine, repeatable thinking, rule-based judgment, structured decision-making. In other words, the exact skills that made someone a reliable, promotable, valuable employee in the 20th century. And here's the part that should make everyone who did everything right sit up straight. The higher your education and the more specialized your training, if that training was built around predictable cognitive work, the more exposed you are. Not less. More. We didn't just build a workforce, we built a perfect target. So why is the middle the target? Why not the bottom of the skill distribution, the physical, hands-on workers? And why not the very top, the surgeons, the strategists, the founders? To understand this, you need a framework called routine task intensity. It was developed by economists David Autor, Frank Levy, and Richard Murnane, and it changed how labor economists think about automation entirely. The insight is this: jobs are not replaced wholesale. They are decomposed into tasks, and tasks fall into two categories: routine and non-routine. Routine tasks follow rules. They are definable, repeatable, and consistent. Processing a loan application, drafting a standard contract, reconciling accounts, generating a compliance report, building a marketing brief from a template. These are not simple tasks. They can require years of training to master, but they are routine, meaning they can be encoded, modeled, and executed by a system with access to the right data. Non-routine tasks do not follow a script. They require real-time judgment in ambiguous environments, physical dexterity in unpredictable spaces, emotional intelligence, trust, creativity. The kind of thinking that emerges from experience you cannot fully articulate, let alone feed into a training dataset. Think of it as a pyramid. At the base, physical, dexterous work. The plumber, the nurse, the electrician, the childcare worker. Extraordinarily difficult to automate at scale because the environment is unpredictable and the tasks require embodied judgment. At the top, adaptive, creative, strategic work. The visionary, the negotiator, the operator who makes calls in situations the playbook doesn't cover. Also very hard to automate, because the value lives in the relationship, the instinct, the irreplaceable human element. In the middle, cognitive routine work. And that middle is exactly what AI was built for. It was never going to attack the edges. It was always going to eat the middle first. And here's the piece that connects everything: the education system, the corporate ladder, the entire professional infrastructure of the 20th century. It was optimized to produce middle-skilled cognitive workers, reliably, at scale, across every country that wanted a growing economy. We spent 50 years building the most sophisticated pipeline in human history for producing exactly the kind of worker that AI replaces most efficiently. And it isn't just a Western problem. The BPO industry, business process outsourcing, built the middle class across India, the Philippines, Nigeria. Millions of people lifted out of poverty by doing exactly the kind of cognitive routine work that AI agents now perform without a salary, without benefits, and without needing to sleep. Silent, instant, and permanent automation is taking over the tasks we once thought were safe. The development ladder that lifted 600 million people in 30 years, that ladder is being pulled up behind them. The most dangerous place in any economy is not the bottom. It's the predictable middle. Wealth has always flowed to the ends of the distribution. AI just made that law ruthlessly efficient. So what do you actually do with this information? There is a concept in risk strategy called the Barbell. Nassim Taleb developed it in finance. The idea that in an uncertain environment, the safest positioning is not the middle. It's the two extremes simultaneously. Maximum safety on one end, maximum optionality on the other. The middle, the moderate risk, moderate return zone, is where you get destroyed. Applied to your career and your business, the logic is identical. The winning position in the next decade is one of two things. Either you become deeply human, the person whose value lives in judgment, in relationships, in trust, in creativity, in the kind of wisdom that cannot be summarized in a prompt. Or you become deeply automated, the person or business that owns, operates, and deploys AI to produce at a scale no human team could match. The danger zone is the middle. The I'm pretty good at this and I show up reliably zone. That position has no protection. Here is how to audit yourself right now. Look at your role, or your business, and ask one question for every task you perform. Could this task be completed adequately by a well-prompted AI model with access to the right data? If the answer is yes, that task is on borrowed time. Not tomorrow, maybe not next year, but the trajectory is clear and trajectories do not reverse. Now ask the second question. What in my work genuinely cannot be replicated? Where do people trust me specifically? Not my output, but me. Where does my judgment create value that a model cannot access because it lives in relationships, in context, in years of reading rooms and reading people? That is your asset. Build toward it. Aggressively. The same logic applies to businesses. The mid-market firm that does solid work at a reasonable rate, no distinct niche, no irreplaceable expertise, no scale advantage, is the most exposed entity in the modern economy. The winners will be either deeply specialized or massively scaled. There is no longer a safe middle ground for good enough. The new asset classes are not in any fund. They are judgment, adaptability, trust, taste, the capacity to make a call that matters in a situation the model has never seen. None of those are in a training data set. I want to pause here and ask you something directly. What is the one skill in your current role that you genuinely believe a machine could never replace? Not what you hope, what you actually believe. Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one. And in the next video, I'm going to break down which answers are actually safe and which ones people only think are safe. That distinction is going to surprise you. The death of the middle skill is not a story about technology, it is a story about positioning. For 200 years, the safest bet in the global economy was to become reliably good at something. Learn the process, follow the system, deliver the output. That was the contract. And for a long time, the contract held. That contract is now canceled. The new wealth logic demands something different. It demands that you become the kind of person, or the kind of business, that gets better at making decisions that machines cannot make. Not faster than them, not cheaper, better in the ways that actually matter. Your value is no longer in your output, it is in your judgment. The middle was never where the value lived. We just all agreed to pretend otherwise. That agreement is now canceled. If this made you think differently about where you stand, subscribe, because every week on this channel we find the one thing that everyone else missed, and we get to the bottom line.